afternoon, Outlands. Thank you so much for your patience. We have a very special guest today. We have Countess Monika joining me today. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting while we worked out some of our technical difficulties. But I can't wait to hear all about your time as Queen of the Outlands. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. And it's a pleasure to be here. And thank you for doing this.
You're welcome. So we started kind of chatting in advance. You had a very, very unique reign. Your son won Crown Tournament for you. It was his third reign.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah. And I do believe it was the first time in the society that a son won crown for his mother. That's
so cool. That is really so special. As a mother, I can't even imagine, like, what a joy.
Yeah. It was the year of the 25th year celebration. And so he wanted to win for that event. And so that was one of the highlights of our reign. So, and let me think. So during that 6-month reign, not only we had Estrella War and the 25th year celebration, and then all the other events. I think between the two of us, I can't remember whether it was 23 or 24 events, because several weekends we went to different events.
Yeah, that's incredible. So you said 20 year or 25 year?
25th year celebration, yeah.
25th year. So I was at 50 years.
I think, what is this year? 51?
No, we're at 53 or 54, I think.
Okay, so this is more than 25 years ago. Almost, 30 years ago, I think it is.
Oh, someone said we're 56. We're in AS 56. Are we really AS 56?
So we're talking 30 years ago, 31. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that celebration, because I was at SCA 50 year 6 years ago, and that was crazy.
Yeah. It was in Texas. Burnett, Texas is the name of the little town, and they had an amazing place. It wasn't, I don't know what it was exactly. It wasn't the rodeo arena, because there was more land than that, but it was a big place, and there were thousands of people there, so it was pretty amazing. I'm pretty sure that what was that, Jan?
Renaissance Fair.
They have a Renaissance Fair, fairground kind of place, and that's where it was. And I'm pretty sure every king and queen was there. It was amazing. The pageantry was amazing. And we had a wonderful crowd from the Outlands. And there were a lot of special things done. I mean, there was a special song. Richard of Gilchrist wrote a special song for us all to march into Grand Court. And it was just amazing. And so many Outlanders came and participated and did things. And we had a lot of little kingdom events as well. But, there was the overall big celebration as well.
So it sounds like the Outlands pretty much just brought it to 25 year as they did to 50 year. I mean, I think we had like 30 horses at 50 year from the Outlands. So.
Yeah, we didn't have horses, but there were horses at the event. There were several like jousting type of events. I remember that. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think. The Duke Christopher of Houghton was my champion, and so he escorted me to a lot of things. And I wasn't used to being queen, so sometimes was more of a pelican than a queen, and I would get off by myself, which I wasn't supposed to do.
Right.
I just take off kind of thing. But it was a great event. And I have a lot of good memories from that event. Another memory that I have was Duke Olaf, Bear Crusher. We made him our Walker of the Way at that event. That was a very good memory.
Cool. At 25 year?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Bear Crusher. Bjornsson.
Olaf Bjornsson, not Bear Crusher. My son is here back here correcting me. Olaf, Duke Olaf.
So you had a Happy Mother's Day message from the Black Duke at the bottom of the screen.
I see that.
So there's a question from Sir. I think that's supposed to be Lavin, maybe.
Oh my! It's Lauren. Lauren. Lauren Letchery. Yeah.
Okay. It
how,
says
how many scrolls have I done? That's funny. I've been Kingdom Scribe twice. Okay, and I do a lot of scrolls, and I've lost count. It's definitely probably close to 300.
Wow.
Well, it's been a long time. I mean. I've been in the SCA probably 40 years, maybe, whatever.
40 years.
Huh? 40? Yeah, 40 years. And probably doing scrolls is one of my first loves. I have 2 assignments I need to work on now that I've been kind of not doing. I need to get them done because now we're going to be active again, right?
Hopefully, yeah. So there was not a Kingdom Scribe when you were queen, right? Because I think when I talked to Aziza, she said that there wasn't one when she was queen.
Really?
Yeah. So
I
did you
remember that?
So did you do scrolls yourself as queen?
Yeah, I did. In fact, one of the neat memories I have is the very first event that I traveled to. I wanted to prove something. And at the time, I was living in the Citadel of the Southern Pass, the southernmost group.
Okay.
And I went to an event in Windkeep, Hunter's Feast.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the very first Hunter's Feast. And I did the scrolls. I had several AOAs to give at that event. And I did those scrolls. And that was for Reese and Aldith. Cerise, yeah, Cerise and Mistress Aldith got their AOAs at that event, and I did those little scrolls.
Wow, that's cool.
I know. So I did quite a few scrolls. At the end of the event, when it was time to give out ciphers, I know I did those. I remember painting them the night before the next coronation, and I was painting my ciphers. And I remember, we were always having people stay at our house, but I remember somebody watching me paint, and it was on white. The paper was white, and I'm painting white. And she said, "Why are you painting white on white paper?" And I said, "No, all the space has to be covered." So, but no, scrolls are probably my favorite thing to do in the SCA. I have always wanted to be a calligrapher. The schools I went to growing up had art classes that taught calligraphy, and I could never take them. I'm left-handed.
Oh.
And nobody wanted to work with a left-handed scribe.
Right.
So I was kind of self-taught.
Oh,
and
wow.
that's one of the things I've enjoyed over my years in the SCA is teaching left-handed calligraphy. So
how does it make you feel when everybody brags that they have a Mistress Monika scroll?
I mean, that's very appreciative. I love doing scrolls for people. I like making them special for people, doing them in their persona or putting in little animals and things like that are special to them,
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, that's the boast I always hear. I have a Mistress Monika. And people are like, I don't have a Monika.
Do you want me to do your counting?
I think it's done. It might be done. But
okay. Yeah. No, it's always better to have someone that is close to you do it. Yeah.
Well, so I actually, the person that did it is
I did Bella's ducal scroll though. If you're ever at his house, you can look at that.
Oh yeah, I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. So what were some of the other things that stuck out as queen? Like, what were some of the things that you didn't expect? Is everybody says you never know what it's like until you are doing the job, and it's never what.
That's true. Besides being Kingdom Scribe, I've also been Principality and Kingdom Seneschal. I was the Principality Seneschal when the Outlands was stepping up to be Kingdom, and I've been Seneschal of Atenveld when we were part of Atenveld. And you think you know. I know I've been an advisor to many kings and queens, and you think you know what it's like, and you don't. I remember my friends at Coronation. I remember my friends saying, "Smile, damn it! You look like a rabbit in the headlights." Oh, but it was a wonderful time, a special time, and the thing that probably I enjoyed the most. I mean, I know we did war. I know we did. That's a good question from Joella. I'll come back to that. Okay. I think what was special to me was going to the little events that had never probably seen the king and queen come. I remember one event in particular. We would go. I was queen, and my husband, Sir Jochen, was my Blue Iris Herald. So we'd go and put on the Jochen and Monika show. And I remember one event in particular at White Mountain. Now, this is a small little group, right? Mm-hmm. But it was fairly close to home. So I went to their event, and it was freezing. We were so cold because it was unexpectedly cold that weekend. And I remember doing court around the fire pit. That's how cold we were.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and there were probably 20 people at that event. But I had a couple of AOAs to give out. And we just huddled together around the fire pit. And, things like that made the rain a little bit different. Oh, I remember one time we went to an event in Carmithenhala, which is not an active shire anymore, but that's Carlsbad, New Mexico. And again, it was me and Sir Jochen. And so we're setting up for court. And I had things, the feast table was behind the thrones. And I needed to get something. They'd already lit the candles for the feast. And I reached over to get some medallions or scrolls or something that were on the table. And I set myself on fire. That was unique, yeah. And I mean, I did a really good job. We managed to put the fire out. And Mistress Bennett, who is a nurse, that was her home shire. And she took me in the bathroom and treated the burns and gave me some good pain meds. And went back in and did court. But yeah, I think that's unique. I think I was the only person ever set herself on fire. So anyway, you want me to answer some of the questions?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Joella, Mistress Joella from the Citadel is asking who made your cipher pins. And they are beautiful pins. They were all unique. Joella got one because she received a cipher. She was one of my ladies in waiting that helped me during the raid. And the pins were made by Master Waltari von Harks. Am I saying that right, Joella? Master Waltari. Anyway, he's from the Citadel. And he was actually, when the Outlands became a kingdom, he was the first Laurel made in the Outlands.
Oh, cool.
And he was amazing artist. He did lots of different things, but he also made jewelry. And so he made my cipher pins, which are really beautiful pieces of jewelry.
So if you were the queen 30 years ago,
mm-hmm.
What do you know? What reign, like number you were, like after the Outlands was created?
Oh, gee. It was after the Outlands became a kingdom.
Yeah.
I want to say Johann would know because he was king. He remembers the 3 times he was king. I think it was 11, but I'm not sure. Okay. What are you?
I don't know.
So, but
I don't know.
He can't read. He's telling me in the background he can't remember either. But if you go to the heraldry site, and you look under the past kings and queens of the Outlands, it'll tell you there.
I just wasn't sure if you remembered off the top of your head.
Pardon me?
I just wasn't sure if you knew off the top of your head.
No, I don't. I can't remember. I want to say it's 11, but I'm not sure.
Okay. So there was another question. What's the piece of advice that you received during your reign that really stuck with you? And that's from Lord Cal in the Meridies.
Hi. Except to smile.
Yes.
Because I did a bunch of courts by myself. As I said, Johann and I frequently split up. He would go to a fighting event, and I would go to one of the little shires events, that kind of thing. And I think just lots of little things. Just smile, not to worry about things too much. Just, the things will happen, they'll get done. And just to enjoy the people.
Yeah.
It was important to me to be approachable, and give lots of thank yous, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Were you already a pelican when you became queen?
I was a pelican and a laurel.
And a laurel. Okay.
Yeah. So it's but the thing is, one of the things that probably helped me was that I also had been Baroness of the Citadel. Oh, look at you. Joella looked it up. Thank you, Joella. It said Jochen the Third and Monika. I thought it was 11. It was the 10th crown of the Outlands. Thank you for looking that up, Joella.
Very cool.
Did I say Jochen? Oh, man. Johann and Monika. Johann the Third. Yeah. But that was the thing, is that we did all the big events. I mean, the War, 50-year, and all that, and a few others, the Christmas events, that kind of thing. But there were a lot of times that Sir Jochen and I went to a lot of small shires just by ourselves, and got to know a lot of people that way. It was really great.
That's cool. What was I going to ask? Oh, so were you made a laurel and a pelican when the Outlands became a kingdom, or when we were still part of Aidenveld?
The pelican, I'm sure. I think I got both of them. Yeah, both of them in Aidenveld. I remember I was seneschal of Aidenveld when I got the pelican, and I went. You got to remember, at that time I'm living in Citadel. That's El Paso, Texas.
Right.
Way south. And I went to a crown tournament in Lac Salon. That's Salt Lake City. Okay. Yeah. So I flew in by myself to that event, to that crown tournament. And it was at that crown tournament that I received my pelican. And I was there, not with any family or really close friends, but I was called up in court. I was actually helping in the kitchen, and I got called out of the kitchen into court and offered the pelican. I remember flying home from that event, and on a Sunday, and there was fighter practice going on in the Citadel, and I went out to the fighter practice, and I said, "Guess what?" So that was different,
Oh yeah, there wasn't Facebook. Everybody didn't know it 5 seconds after it happened.
Yeah. And the laurel, I remember the laurel, probably, I can't remember even the date, but the laurel, I was living in the Citadel too, and I think that was probably during one of the times that I was Kingdom Scribe.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you think being a laurel and a pelican changed your outlook on being queen, or do you think it didn't affect it at all?
In lots of little ways. I mean, first of all, I didn't have to worry about the circles, about going to my first pelican circle, my first laurel circle.
Right.
So that was helpful. And it helped in that I could bring some people that I had seen to the circle's attention. That was helpful.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I think the big thing was just feeling comfortable in the circles, because I'm sure that is overwhelming to many crowns who aren't familiar with those circles.
Yeah.
It's a little daunting, I would think, the first time or two.
Yeah, I imagine for someone that's never been in a circle before, that could be terrifying, really.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And I had the benefit of being part of the Master of Defense Circle, but
There
it's
you go.
a very different experience than the Laurel and the Pelican Circle.
Yeah.
So it can be quite intimidating, I'm sure. So awesome. So it sounds like you guys traveled a ton. Oh, I'm the 68th Queen of the Outlands.
Wow. Holy cow. I didn't realize we had that many. Wow. Interesting. Yeah. No, that makes sense. I mean, we've been a kingdom, what now, for 31 years? So 2 times a year? Yeah.
Yeah, and then we hit the pause button there for a while, but there's another question. What crown recognized you as a pelican and a laurel? And that's from the Black Duke.
Wow. I should know that. I believe for the laurel, I'm not sure, but I think it was Catherine of Ivorah. And for the pelican, as I said, that came from Atenveld, and I'm trying to remember who was the king and queen of Atenveld at that crown tournament. I don't remember. I would have to look it up. Oh, of course, I have scrolls. Let me think. Oh, my Pelican Laurel scrolls are in the other room. I don't remember.
It couldn't have been Catherine of Ivorah because she was my queen, and then I didn't give it to her.
No, but she was queen another time, wasn't she? Before that, I don't know. Johann is trying to help me back here. I've got Duke Johann, who's my son, in the other room, and Sir Jochen, who is my husband, and they're all talking to me.
It's nice to have help. It's hard to remember. It is.
And I should remember, but it's been so long. I mean, really. I mean, we're talking like 35 years ago, So, but that's something else, is that just recently, a few months ago, I renewed our memberships. And I'm trying to think. Let's see, we've been here 20. I think I've been a member about 40 or 41 years, something like that.
So you have a low membership number.
Oh, I do. It's only 5 digits. It's 15752, I think. But I know people who only have 4 digits. Sir Assad only has 4 digits in his.
I'm going to peep out the window really quick because I hope that it's not hailing on my new garden.
Okay. Oh, dear.
No, it's just rain. I keep hearing the thunder.
And where are you?
I'm in Colorado. I'm in Centennial. So right outside of Denver.
I live just south of Albuquerque, and it's almost 85 degrees here today.
Yeah, it was very warm. It was like in the low 80s, but of course I laid out my garden, and my husband said, "It's before Mother's Day. What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm just laying it out. I'm not planting anything. So if things get crazy, I can go out and grab it." And now I'm like, "Oh, great."
I'm only gardening in pots this year. We have an acre of land.
Oh, nice.
And last year we had almost half an acre in garden. But not this year. I just can't do it anymore. And I still have a lot of vegetables in my freezer from last year.
Yeah, last year was the first time we were here with the pandemic, so I did the whole garden from seeds, and we had a huge garden. We live in town, so like our whole back fence area, I have a huge like garden bed back there, so it's kind of fun to plant your own stuff. It's very medieval, I guess.
Oh yeah.
So what are some of the other great stories from your time? I mean, man, you've seen so much history. Like, what are some of your favorite regalia that's still around? Or is there regalia that you really loved that was retired and never refurbished?
I can't think of any new regalia that was made during our reign, but I do have some good memories about regalia. When we first became a kingdom, I remember, I don't know, have you ever seen the Great Seal of the Outlands?
Yeah.
Well, that was made by Master Waltari. As I said, he was the first Laurel of the Outlands ever. And he's from the Citadel to Southern Pass. And I mentioned already that he made the Cipher Pins that I gave out. I mean, he's just an amazing jeweler. It's, and pretty much, from what I believe, pretty much self-taught. I mean, he started doing it in the SCA, but then he began to do it professionally as well.
Oh, wow. That's neat. Very cool.
And, I have some funny stories about Duke Christopher of Houghton. He was my champion, and I think sometimes the Pelican in me was more active than being crowned, and so I kind of tended to just, if I saw something that I thought needed doing, just kind of take off and do it. And so he was kind of always chasing after me because he didn't feel, he was my champion, and he didn't feel that the queen should be going around unaccompanied. And I was doing it all the time. So, I in some ways I wasn't the typical queen. But
being relatable, though, endears you to the populace, I think. When they can relate to you and they can see you do things like that, I think that they enjoy that.
There are a lot of things that have been done in recent reigns that I wish I'd thought of when I was queen. Recognizing the children and things like that. There's some really nice things. I like having been, as I said, the last seneschal of the Outlands when it was a principality before it became a kingdom. I have to say I'm very proud of the Outlands and what it has become and the things it has done. And I'm very proud of this kingdom and very pleased to be a part of it.
So were the ancient and honorable crowns new when you were crowned with them?
No, I don't even remember us having a choice. I don't remember us having a choice. There may have been one or two sets that weren't being used, but I don't remember that. And I don't remember a new set being created during our reign.
Okay.
I know that Master Reese has made a couple of the sets, and I believe the newest set. And Master Reese, I have to talk about this. You can see it. This is my county coronet. There you go. Yeah. And it was made by Master Reese. And the thing I love about it is that it is both a county and a baronial coronet. Because my husband, Sir Jochen, and I were the first Baron and Baroness of the Citadel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so on this coronet, you have the goblets for the Citadel and the blue beads for the Citadel, and then you have the embattlement for the county, and these are roses, and the roses have green stones. But Master Reese made this.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. So, but I'm not. I believe that he made. Oh, I got to tell you something else about this. This is a secret that I'm going to let out. Master Reese was making the new coronets for the Outlands, and I don't know if you know that those are gold plated.
These ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he was making mine at the same time. So he threw my coronet in the same gold bath. And so my coronet is also gold plated. That's a little secret. Everybody knows now.
That's so pretty. What are some of the other gifts that you were given or things that some artists made that you want to talk about?
Oh. I don't remember being given that many gifts. If anybody else remembers, please chime in. A lot of the things we received, we would give away. There was not like an official largesse drive the way people do these days. But I know a lot of things we would pass on or give to others, little pins or tokens, that kind of thing. But I don't really remember anything else. If anybody else remembers anything like that or has more questions, please chime in. I told you about setting myself on fire. Okay. And that was a first. And I did a lot of scrolls while I was queen, but there were other beautiful ones too. My county scroll, I think is back there. Yeah, you could see it right over there back of me. And that is a lovely scroll. The lady who did it has moved out of kingdom. I can't remember her name now. Like I said, all these things are 30 years ago, so you're asking me to try to dredge up memories. But I know we went to almost all the kingdom events. I remember going to Kerta's 12th night, and it snowed. I remember that.
Yeah.
And of course, it was always fun to do events in Alberon. But at the time, I was living in El Paso. So we did a lot of traveling. I remember our coronation, and the coronation was I think it was in Arkell. And I remember that we had to get through Raton Pass. We were driving up. We had a couple cars of people, and we were driving up, and it snowed, and the pass was closed, and we had to stay in Raton. We had to stay in Raton in motels overnight, and then in the morning the pass was open, so we all piled in. We got to. We were supposed to have crash base Friday night, so the dear lady was a little bit upset that we weren't there, and we had, but anyway, we got there on Saturday morning, just really about half an hour before court was supposed to start.
Oh, no.
So, having a winter rain, sometimes you're dealing with the snow, and we're not used to snow that much where I come from. I'm originally from Chicago, so I'm used to snow there, but El Paso, no.
No. Yeah. So what is an Outlands tradition that is most defining of the kingdom? That's from Lord Calligraphy.
There's a tradition now that we didn't do back then. I really love the one about the spreading of the dirt, on the tourney field. I think that's really awesome. But as far as traditions that we had back then, I'm not sure. I like the way we had our champions. We had at the coronation weekend, we had several tournaments to pick our champions. The fencing champion, and that was For our reign, that was Lord Triffin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he was very good to me. He would escort me a lot.
Mhm.
And then, of course, the heavy weapons champion was Duke Christopher. And he was very good to me, too. Like, he tried to keep me out of a lot of trouble. But the way we had our tournaments, I'm trying to remember what else we had. I don't think we had arts and sciences. I can't remember who our arts and sciences champion was, but I remember Queen's Prize. I remember going to those. But I think the biggest event, about traditions, I think that the events that we have, to me, are some of the most telling things. I mean, during our reign, not only did we go to the 50-year celebration, which was huge, and the preparations for it were huge, but we had a Estrella War. I have some really good stories about that. And what else did we have? Gosh, there was something else.
I'd love to hear about your Estrella time.
That was interesting. I think I remember it being very cold. Yeah, I mean, Estrellas frequently are cold and rainy, aren't they? Yeah. But I remember this one being especially cold, and just the courts, processionals, the meals that were put on for us, that kind of thing. Visiting with other kingdoms was a highlight for me because I really enjoyed meeting people from other kingdoms. Mm-hmm. And we were fortunate that some of the Estrellas I've been to, where they got rained out, were really hard on people. So I'm glad we didn't have to deal with that. We just had to deal with the cold. I remember this is not really SCA activity stuff, but I remember it being so cold and people complaining about how the water in the porta potties froze.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. Uh-huh. So that I remember that. Oh, I remember what I wanted to talk about our Estrella was that Johann had made a deal with Atenveldt about how they would fight. Where it was a big deal about whether the Outlands would fight with Atenveldt or Caid, because those were really the two hosts of Estrella. And I think the king, I'm not sure about this, maybe Johann would remember, but I think the king or crown prince of Caid actually came to Alberon's midwinter to ask us to fight on his side. But Johann made a deal with, you got to remember, this is his third reign, so he's feeling pretty sure of himself. And he made a deal with Atenveldt that the Outlands would fight with Atenveldt against Caid if Atenveldt provided the Outlands with a meal. I mean, the whole kingdom with a meal. Like a Saturday night feast kind of thing. And so I remember that event when it came time, and they agreed. And so when it came time for that event, for the meal, I think it was after court, they started bringing in meat. I mean, turkeys and brisket and all this stuff. And it was, I'm the cook, right? So it was up to me to organize the rest of the meal. And so we had people, I remember I made a big pot of something and provided bread. But we had bread and cheese and a pot of rice and I don't know what all, and desserts. And then Atenveldt provided all this meat. So we had a feast. The whole kingdom at the war had a feast out of all this food so that the Outlands would fight with Atenveldt.
Oh, that's fun.
It is. Yeah. But they wanted us to fight with them, you know. I mean, you got to. The Outlands is a well-known fighting unit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that was something special about our time at war.
Man, I should have held out for more negotiation.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, you could do that. A lot of people don't think about doing that, you know. But it's not a given that the Outlands fight with Adenville, because Caid was the other principal, not the Outlands at that time. I think now we're a principal.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you said you did have fencing champions. So there was fencing activities when you were queen?
Yes, there were.
Okay.
And we did not have the Master of Defense recognition at that time, but it was always part of the coronation activities to have a fencing champion.
Mm-hmm. That's neat. And archery champions and everybody.
I'm not. I don't remember having an archery champion at that time. I don't think we did. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember that.
Well, I think the archery champions decided in the summer and then they served for a year.
Oh, okay. But I don't think we even had that at that time.
Okay.
You got to remember, this is more than 30 years ago. It'd be interesting to look that up.
Yeah, to see about archery and what role they played. So would you ever want to be queen again?
Not now. I think it's a little past my time. I would have liked to have done it again. I had been fought for by a couple of people that didn't win. I was, I don't need to say who, but 2 or 3 times I've been fought for since then. And it would have been nice, but I think it's a little bit too late for me right now.
Okay. It's a lot of work. I mean,
Mm-hmm. But I have to say, you got to remember that I think I'd only been in this society 2 or 3 years when the Outlands was becoming a kingdom. The weekend that Sir Jochen and I were invested as Baron and Baroness of the Citadel on a Saturday, and on the Sunday, and it was when Duke Christopher and Constance were king and queen. The next day I became Principality of the Outland Seneschal. And so, I mean, there was a lot of activity crammed into one thing. I'm very proud of the Outlands, very proud of what the Outlands has become. As I said, I was Seneschal right before it I was Seneschal of Adenville when the Outlands became a kingdom, and Giovanni had been Principality Seneschal of the Outlands, and then he became the first Outlands Seneschal. So that was, an interesting time. The whole process. I was Kingdom Seneschal of Adenville when the Outlands put in for kingdom status. So I was able to comment on the activity of the Outlands as Adenville Seneschal. And
so what was that like to be at the first Outlands coronation or Outlands crown tourney?
It was very interesting. It was held in Kerta, I remember. And I remember us traveling up from El Paso, from the Citadel, to go to the Outlands first crown tourney. And I'm going to lay claim to this. I was one of those people that put all the little crowns on the deer crossing signs, Yeah. All the way up from El Paso to Kerta, the Royal Road. Yeah,
Oh.
I remember Sir Jochen had tried to pull some of these deer crossing signs. They were so tall I couldn't reach, so I had to climb up on the car to get to the signs to put a crown on them. So I know, but I know there were other people who did it too, though. But I like claim to a lot of those. Somebody put crowns on a lot of the signs all the way to not Estrella, to what is it? No, the one in the east.
Penzic?
Penzic, thank you. Somebody put crowns all the way to Penzic one year.
So was Outlands Crown Tournament and Coronation on the same day?
I think we had the tournament. It was either on the same day or the next day. I don't remember. Somebody else who's been around forever can answer that question.
But it was the same weekend. There was a crown tournament.
I'm pretty sure it was the same weekend. Yeah, you had to come prepared to be crowned. I remember that. So
that's crazy. There's another question. Do you have a favorite scroll that you've done, and who was it for?
That's hard to say. I have a lot of favorites. One of my favorites is right up on my own wall. Anyway, it's Sir Jochen's Knighting Scroll, that one. And it took me forever. Poor thing. That was on my to-do list for years because I was always doing other ones. But some of my other favorites, let me see. One of the more recent ones I really like was Jax's Ducal Scroll.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think it's got tigers on it, I think. And Bella's Knighting Scroll, I really, really liked. Oh, probably my favorite all-time scroll. And you should get him to show it to you sometime. My absolute favorite is Cerise's Knighting. Was it his Knighting or his Laurel? Cerise is a triple peer.
Yeah.
Okay. So this scroll, whichever one he got last, I can't remember which one he got last. Whichever one he got last, I did that scroll. And that one is really interesting because it's got a lot of little things. It's got like every award he's ever had circling his arms. And that's a cool scroll. That's one of my favorites.
Well, it must have also been really special to work on, knowing that you were the one that gave him his AOA.
Exactly. And he has them, bless his heart, he has them both on his wall, I've been told. So, and there's a big difference between the quality of them, that's for sure. I learned a lot in those years. But those are, I've done a lot. I've done probably 4 or 5 ducal scrolls.
Wow.
Which is always very flattering and special to be asked to do that. But I've done Bella's, I've done Hrothgar's, Jax's, and probably a couple others I can't remember. So, but I mean, literally, I've done somewhere between 200 and 300 scrolls. So, the beauty of being Kingdom Scribe is that you get these, unless a crown specifically tells you they want somebody to do a certain scroll. The beauty of it is you get first choice of the assignment. That's why it's so great to be Kingdom Scribe.
I could definitely see that as a good benefit.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's a lot of fun. Any last thoughts that you want to give us? We're about 2 minutes away from the end here.
Well, I just want to say hi to everybody and thank everybody for hanging in there the last year. It's been tough for everybody. It's been tough for you. Thank you for doing programs like this, but also, I mean, you're probably going to be so glad when Crown Tournament finally gets here. I can only imagine. Bless your heart. But I don't know. I hope I brought up a lot of the memories for some people. As I said, I want to do a special shout out to Reese and Aldith. I gave them their AOAs, and they've always been special to me. I remember arriving at their house from by plane from the Denver airport, and my luggage was didn't make it on the second flight. So I arrived at their house with nothing except the crown case, my scroll case, no clothes. Aldith gave me something to sleep in. Bjarke let me sleep in his bed. I don't know where he slept that weekend, but I had his bed. And they took care of me that weekend, and that was a very special event. And Hunter's Feasts always are. But I had a wonderful time as Crown. And there were so many people that helped. Some other things I remember. I know Joella. Thank you, Joella. She was one of my ladies in waiting and was always there. I think she was one of the people that told me to smile, and I looked like a rabbit and the headlights said Coronation. Signe was also a big help. I remember that one of the highlights of the reign was, and it's on the picture from the RoyalTea page, but I was able to invest Gareth and Signe as Baron and Baroness of the Citadel, my own barony. Mm-hmm. So that was special. A lot of things, a lot of good memories.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I really had so much fun talking with you, and I really appreciate you taking the time. So
it's been wonderful. Thank you. And thank you for doing this for everybody in the outlets.
You're welcome. And until we can meet again, which hopefully should be soon-ish, maybe.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Hang in there, Outlands. And I think His Majesty has a show coming up in a couple of weeks.
Ah.
Yeah.
Torn. Cool.
Yeah. So that should be a good one.
All right.
And I think that might be towards the end of our time on
May 22nd. Hopefully we'll all be going to events by then, huh?
Yeah. So
right.
Thank you so much, Outlands. Have a wonderful day, and we will talk to everybody soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.